Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having the best day. Here we are back on the Fox body, and we got a jillion lines to make. No exaggeration, solid jillion. Gotta keep moving, getting antsy in my pantsy to drive this thing. I know Gina is as well, and we still have some solid days to put in before we're able to do that. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification next to the subscribe thing to be awesome. Safety Kyle found enough fittings to finish our cooling system, but I had to steal some fuel system fittings, so I still need a 6AN kit. But the cooling system, 100% done, except for the overflow, which goes somewhere there. Still looking pretty clean. Next up, we have to adapt our power steering to go from Chevy to Ford. Now you can just kind of plug it in, but the Ford likes to have like 300, 400 PSI less pressure than the LS pump puts out. So you should shim it. And getting this pump off was absolutely terrible with a pulley that doesn't have any holes in it, because I had to reach in with here with a wrench and go like turn, turn, turn. 20 minutes later. We're just gonna pull this valve and we have to put some shims in it. All right, so this is the internal parts of it. They came out of that piece back there. This is the piece that you're gonna shim with these shims right here. You do need 3 shims to knock it down 300 PSI, so I'm gonna try and find something a little bit thicker than these. They just slip right here between the top of the head and the case over there. And what it does is it just takes tension off this spring right here and makes it less tight. And that's what gives you your decrease in pressure. Copper washer plus 2 steel ones should give us right around 900 PSI. All right, we're watching some Sweet 16 here. It's buffering because my internet sucks. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on from this a little bit. We're gonna adapt our fuel pump to 6AN. I bought these 6 JIC fittings, but they're kind of loose on here, and I don't really want to weld in that gap right there. So what I might do is drill out the back sides of these ones, just slip them on, and then butt weld them to the end of this piece right here, and then that should work perfect. Please don't die, please don't die. Squirt, squirt, squirt. Oh my God, that was it's almost all air. Ah! I got it stuck. You know what? We just adapt and overcome. This one's gonna fit somewhere right there. I didn't drill it exactly perfect, so it's at a slight like 2-degree angle. This one just butts up against the flare tube, so that'll give me a nice spot to weld. This one I had to cut the end off because the piece right here was actually the same size as like this tube, so we're just getting rid of all this piece. So we'll weld both these on, and then we have 6AN feed in return for our fuel pump. Mint. Now the reason for using this style over like a push lock style is these are $3 a piece, and a push lock style is like a $20 unit a piece unit thing. Yeah. Do you fit in here now? You were made for this tank. There it goes. Just like that. Dang, I'm good. I have no idea what this hole is for, but even on our old tank, it's there, so it must have been like a vent or something. But I'm missing it. I have the gas tank up off the floor a little bit here, and I like to do this because I like to make the lines long enough that when I drop the gas tank down, they're gonna stretch down and I can reach them. So we're gonna build our lines from here up to these two in the surge tank. So feed and return to the surge tank from the stock tank. And then we'll build these lines after, which is our 2 pumps and our return going to the front. Feed and return up where our bracket is, into the pump. Now to go from the 2 pumps, and this isn't ideal, it's just what we had locally. I'll order a proper fitting after, but we have this T fitting, which is 6, 6, 6, and then we have a 6 to 8 adapter, and we're gonna use an 8 AN line to the front. So dual 6s into single 8, and then 8 to the front. They're 340 pumps, which should be able to handle 800 wheel on like a C16 or something. Let's just try and modify this so it doesn't flow like garbage. So basically my idea is this. We're gonna go a boot like 16 inches away from the fuel pump before we connect these two together. We're gonna put a 90-degree fitting on this side, a straight fitting on this side, so pump in, pump out. And we actually drilled this fitting all the way down past this inlet, so it is a little bit wider where the 2 pumps meet, and it should flow whatever this 8 AN line flows. Budget, baby. Okay, that was a lot of PTFE connections, but we have all the lines made here. All the lines made there, but we can't tuck up our lines and our power cables fully until we finish welding the seams on the car here, and then the little bit of cross bracing on the subframe connectors. So I'm gonna do that now, get that all done, painted, and we can permanently mount our power wires and our fuel lines going to the front of the car. All right, instead of watching me struggle under the car, it's a perfect opportunity to head over to blacksheepindustries.ca. It'll be the first link down below. And when you're there, you can see our awesome custom line of wastegates and blow-off valves. We also do turbos and flanges and a bunch of stuff you guys need to turbo your build. Now, I know you guys don't want to be slow, and I don't like being slow either, and that's why I love turbos. 1 of them on this thing, 2 of them on this thing. So let us help you get started. blacksheepindustries.ca. Go check us out. Awesome prices, awesome quality stuff. Check it out. I hate it! One side, obviously some of the rust there doesn't weld very good, but all under here is TIG welded too. So just to paint this side and then weld up the braces on the other side, and then that's it. And then run all our lines back there where you can see. Boy, my neck hurts. We got everything underneath painted. Time to run our power lines, our fuel lines, our ground lines, and thank God. This tape can come off now too. So on our fuel tank, I did find this piece, which is like a vent hose that went all the way to the front, which it's not going to the front now. I'm just gonna tuck it in the rear fender well somewhere. And then here is our piece, but this is the stupidest plug-in I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't know how I'm gonna get power ground to that. So I do need to cut out a piece of aluminum for that piece, because we don't have anything to fit in there right now. So I'm just gonna cut a blank piece of aluminum, put that in there, and then just put one of these majiggers on it. That'll work. Now, this can't be too hard to figure out, right? We just need to get wires connected to those things when we don't have the right connector. What if we just take something like this, stick it on here, and then what if we just kind of like, you know, I don't know, do something like this maybe? I wonder what melts first. Well, yeah, it's on there. Kind of. But it also looks like we were melting some other shit, so maybe this time we'll preheat this one. Well, they're both stuck on there. Worst case, it doesn't work. In which case, it didn't work anyways because it didn't have the right plug. So worst case, Ontario, we gotta replace it. And just to make sure, if we frigged it up, we can't unfrig it up, we're gonna epoxy it in place. There we go, it can't not work. Boom, ghetto connector. Yay, we can finally jam it underneath here now. Get the f in there, holy shit. Why is the new tank gotta be so slippery? Dang, it's up in place and we get to use our factory fill hole. Streetcar to the max. Now it's just to get power from here down through whatever wire that is to our lift pump, to the surge tank, and then to the surge tank. And then hopefully when we test it, we have power. And then we should be able to prime this whole system in place. What kind of craziness is modifying things? Modifying things is crazy. Why do we do it? In hindsight, you could probably just buy a twin turbo kit for a car, but then you pay for the twin turbo kit, which is really expensive. And we did this on the cheap. Off the relays, in through the side of the panel here, all the way to the back, down through a grommet through here, comes underneath. I've already got the one hooked up to the pump, hooked up, and now I have to hook these ones up, which they just go all the way underneath, and this one is like just barely long enough. Boop. No, this is not C16, it's just pump gas, but I just want to see if our systems are going to prime. This is gonna be really awkward to do by myself, I think. It doesn't start getting heavy until about 20 seconds in. No leaks yet, so our brand new tank isn't broken. Finish up our ghetto fab wiring here, just, you know, temporary permanent wires again. If I think I'm as good as I am, this should prime when I connect these two bare wires to things. Basically what this is just the key on ignition for the Holly right now. That's not promising. I'm not as good as I think I am, I guess. So these temporary wires were just kind of slipped into pins on the connector, and I had them in the wrong connector. Now it should work if I think I'm good. But why aren't pumps priming? Oh, I forgot this one. Duh. They're not gonna prime unless we get signal from the ECU. There's also this connector, which is connected right to the ECU, and it tells the pumps to turn on. Everything's all wired up, I just keep forgetting stuff. Okay, now, I hear the relays click up front. Now I have no explanation for this. Oh, other than the pump might have a bad ground. The pump grounds would definitely be bad grounds if they weren't connected, which they weren't. I'm like 0 for 3 right now, guys. Okay, this is the 4th time charm. Okay, there's no excuse for you not to work this time. What the bejeebers is going on now? Why we get no prime? The ground that I unhooked because I thought it wasn't good enough. It wasn't. Then I forgot to re-ground it. Yep. That'd be the one. There it goes. I think we're good. I'm not gonna lie. Under the car with the welding and stuff, I think I did the math on it. I think it was like 60 or 70 linear inches that I had to weld up, which is a lot of inches. It's like a lot of inches. This is probably the perfect time to say, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're wondering where the alien trash kitty is, this is her little body paint thing that she was doing. This is actually all painted on. So she drew this shirt on like her chest and stuff. And she's just a friggin' artist. Look at that, alientrashkitty.com. Sick artist. She's Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball Z. And these are all the previous ones she's done. She was a Ninja Turtle. She had Deadpool. Well, Lady Deadpool. Wifey's got talent. And I keep saying that I'm not really an artist, but in my own kind of way I am. Because like I built that trike and that's kind of like metal art, right? Just trying to justify sucking. In a world where Kyle tells ghost stories around a campfire for middle-aged men. But for serious, huge progress upgrade. Update. Power and ground's done. Switch, which I now realize that the exhaust might have to be moved, but that works too. That has to be tucked up over the axle with some P-clamps. I just need some self-tappers to do that. But everything is tied up. I just tied it to the subframe connector with a jillion zip ties. So that's our 8-feed, 6-return. We do have a junction up here, but that one fuel line keeps leaking. That little tiny one, the PTFE, I don't know why, but it seems like it tears the PTFE when you make a really short line like that. Like I said, the Holly wires are under the back. Everything is trying to run as clean as possible. There's some auxiliary wires we still need to hook up here. That green one right here being our trans brake. So that goes down to our trans brake solenoid. And these ones right here are for the buttons, the trans brake bump box buttons. Up front, here's our grounds. One goes straight to the battery. The other one goes to the engine, and then this one goes down to the chassis right here, which is just a bolt through the strut tower. And then any additional grounds you want to put on, just put them right there. The power, the other side of this one goes to the battery. That side goes to the starter. And that's a very significant portion of the hard stuff in the back that is done, that the stuff I can't film under the car. So I've got hours put in underneath the car that I couldn't film just because you can't get a camera up there and point at good spots while you're under there. I have the alternator wire done too. That actually goes all the way back to the cutoff switch because you need to be able to kill the alternator when you kill the engine power with the cutoff switch, or else it won't turn off because the alternator will just keep hitting the engine. Remember last time when I completely destroyed the shock because someone told me I could just like tap this piece off and it would just come off? Well, you can't do that because I've completely destroyed the last shock. So we're gonna grind it down like I did the last time with this side, and then we get the other shock put in the other side. No smashy smashy. How about meow? Oh, we did it. Converted to coilovers. Middle class fancy. I don't even know if Dan at DD Speed Shop knows what a coilover is. Probably not. So here's the Malibu still. This is the busted up one, but like almost everything is out of this car. We have the fuel tank, which has the sender in it. There's the trans, all the exhaust, the axles out of it. Here's the motor out of it. It has been freshened up. So this thing has forged pistons and rods in it now. ATI balancer. Should be able to make some jam. But this thing has just been waiting to go to the dump. They want to take the glass out of it to put it in the second car. And then we'll get the other car prepped to go. It's definitely been a long, cold winter. Not a lot of motivation to do stuff with this really, but like I said, all the parts are here. They just have to be bolted in to the other car. I'm actually here to steal some wheels that I think are up there. Yep. I'm going to steal those wheels to test fit on Gina's car. I'm also going to steal these valve covers to see if the coil packs will bolt to these ones and we can run them that way. Well, this is Tokyo's rear wheel on this car. That's actually ride height, so we need to cut those springs a little tiny bit. So I'm going to have to go a little bit narrower wheel, which I think this might be a 9-inch because it is kind of tight in the backside there. So a little bit narrower wheel and a little more offset that way. Because the axle sticks out so much further, because the rear end is a little bit wider because it's from a newer Mustang, that's where we're running into a little bit of issues here. Now we're going to take this aftermarket valve cover off because we need to mount coils onto one of these. So just for testing purposes. Okay. Well, this one won't work here because the coil brackets are the wrong way now, I think. We do have a couple sets of these stock coil brackets. No, it needs to be the other valve cover for these, I think. All right, I guess we'll try this side real quick. Oh yeah, they fit. Just like that. Okay. So now we just need another valve cover. All right, we know that setup's gonna work. It's not as sexy as the polished valve covers were. But that's okay. It'll work fine, it'll function fine, and you know what? Maybe we can get some nicer valve covers that have the same... I apparently just did that. Some nicer valve covers that have the stands in them still. We did get all the brake component stuff, except for the brake lines. I thought I ordered them, we didn't order them. So I need the brake lines and the spindle nuts, forgot those two. We got a drive shaft here. I don't know if it's gonna fit. It has fit on our builds previously before. We ended up getting the whole shebang, 2 new calipers, 2 new hubs, brakes, pads, and lines. No frigging around with the old stuff. Brakes is definitely not the spot you want to cheap out on. You don't want to like collapse your brake hose and hit a wall or something because you got one brake working. I also ordered a serpentine belt. And the cool thing about living where we live, it takes like 3 days for car parts to get in, like just general car parts. Like a 6-rib serpentine belt, 3 days. Even when that's 69 inches though, that's why. So in the meantime, we're gonna hook up this power steering cooler. We're gonna run this just, you know, because why not? You don't want to boil your fluid. Now we're probably just gonna mount this piece somewhere in here. Just enough to get a little bit of cooling and still be tucked away. And then you run the lines along the radiator here, down to the power steering. And it just comes with these stupid little pull-through things. So this piece like goes through this piece right here, and then you just like stick it through the radiator as well, through the fins, and then you put a little piece on the end of it, and that's how it That's how it works. As I was putting this stupid zip tie thing together, it freaking broke on me. This is like a totally 1-star review. 1-star review right now. Don't buy this thing. These zip things suck. First of all, I have no idea who spec'd out these hose clamps for this thing, but dude, you left about 8 inches hanging off the end there. You could have used a smaller hose clamp. And then second of all, our hose doesn't even reach from here back to the rack. They didn't give us no hose. So whoever made this kit, you suck. Now moving on, because that was just annoying. Ooh, almost dropped it. Moving on, because that was just annoying and silly. This drive shaft is gonna fit. We just have to reattach this yoke thing. They are 1330 U-joints, so they are like medium tough. We also have to attach our Turbo 400 splined shaft, which this setup has already been used on my blue Mustang. Just get repurposed now. Good thing I saved all the stuff from this. See if you remember how to use this thingamajigger. Hold this between my legs. The adjustable hammer. Boom! Fingered it out. That's one long shaft. Well, I guess I got most of the brake parts. I realize now that I need the actual caliper adapter. The caliper bracket, like this caliper right here is just one piece, and that's how it bolted on. It turns out that one's one piece, that's how it bolts on. Turns out this one, I think, comes in 2 pieces, so it has a bracket and the caliper.
Sure, the whole there, how can I help you?
Hi, Paul. It's Kyle again.
Yeah.
Those calipers, do they also need a caliper bracket?
No, for some reason the Rodessus ones do not have brackets.
So nobody sells brackets for them?
None of my suppliers have, both of my suppliers don't carry brackets.
I guess we gotta find calipers somewhere else. Well, I mainly wanted to get the front on so I could see what kind of wheels will fit on there. These are our Xxr wheels. I've had them so long. They were on the Supra at one point. This was the front one. I think this is like 8 inches wide. And this one actually fits good on the front and the back. So that's a good indicator for our offset. So I can use this one to kind of gauge what kind of wheels we can use. It does suit it pretty good though. I guess we're going inside to find some calipers now. I was really relying on getting those here quickly. I'm probably gonna have to order them from Rock Auto, which takes, I don't know, 4 or 5 days to get here. So it might be early next week that we're able to drive this, but it is coming along nicely. All the little finicky things, I'm getting through them and powering through them. I'll be back out here again later doing little things again. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I appreciate every subscriber. You guys are my family. I might actually come out here and do something on this after too, or start the next trike. Big decisions to make. Anyways, peace easy. Get that V. Love y'all.